Want to know what your dog is thinking?
Have a challenging dog behavior you need help with?
The Dish on Dogs is your source for all your canine questions.
Improve your relationship with your dog and deepen your understanding of your furry friend. Right here on the Dish on Dogs. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another informative episode of the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, affectionately known as the mayor of Hounds Town, USA, which we all know at this point is home to the absolute happiest dogs on earth. So today's episode, we're going to talk about Hounds Town culture and, more importantly to me, the evolution of Hounds Town, because it has been an evolution. I've been doing this for over 20 years, running Hounds Town by myself. And then as the years gone by, obviously, we've hired employees and managers, many come and gone. So today I'm really fortunate to have our good friend, our operations manager from Ronkonkoma, our corporate location in Ronkonkoma, Samantha, better known as Sam Reilly, with us today. And she's going to walk us down memory lane because she predates our CEO, meaning she's been here before that Jackie Bondanza has been sniffing around here. So Sam is one of our oldies but goodies. So welcome to the show, Samantha. Sam, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you? I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So let's go down. When did you start working for Hounds Town?
I started working in 2015 for Hounds Town.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. We don't talk about people's ages, but that's been a long time. And since then, you now have a family. You used to be Sam Valentine, now you're Sam Reilly. Got a beautiful baby, Rowan.
Yep.
And you've still been maintaining. You've survived. This is like survivor working here, right? People come, they start. Some people work for 2 hours. Yes. Some people work for 2 months.
Yep.
You've worked for 7 years.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So that's exceptional in and of itself. That's a record-breaking kind of thing. Not many people have.
I feel the same. Yes.
You feel the same.
Yeah.
And the important thing is, to me, you didn't start out with really any experience. You were an entry-level kennel cleaner. And you've since then, in the last 7 years, you've been involved with almost every aspect of our business, up to and including being our manager, our operations manager, which means you run everything, you do everything. Yep. So I want to dig deeper into that. And we want to also incorporate the theme of what our culture is. Businesses are always talking about culture. What's your culture? Everybody has a culture these days. So let's talk to you about that. So let's go down memory lane. 2015, you came strolling in the door. What was that like?
Yeah, I came in, it was really my first job before this. I just kind of babysat and did a little things here and there. And then I just found a job listing at Suffolk Community College, which I was never a college person, so didn't even know what I wanted to do, but found it interesting. I actually lived in Ronkonkoma my whole life and didn't even know this was here. So when I started, I was super excited about it. At that point, you only had 3 locations, and it was a very small, kind of mom and pop. It still has that feel. Talking about culture, it still feels like a very small mom and pop business, even though we have over 20 locations and growing fast. But when we started, there was, this was an apartment, this whole room was an apartment, and there was, it was totally different. It's still the same culture, but just the growth and the imagine, it's just crazy.
But so as your expectation, so you were in high school or college?
I was in college, my first year of college.
First year of college. So you come strolling in for one of your first part-time jobs, I'm assuming.
Yes, yep.
Doggy daycare. So I'm wondering if the same thing exists today for new entry-level employees. So what was your expectations? Like you came in, doggy daycare.
Yeah. I mean, I had no expectations. I was just looking to have fun and just earning some extra cash for beer money, with my friends. And it turned into a career for me. I never ever thought that it was going to, but not because I didn't want it to, but I just didn't even realize all the opportunities it had. All I knew that once I started working, I absolutely fell in love with the environment, and I fell in love with the idea of Hounds Town and what that is. And I kind of had a feeling it was going to be very successful. And I'm happy that I stuck it out for so long to see its growth, because it's pretty crazy.
Well, we're very happy happy because, as I said, it's kind of like Survivor. If you think of the hundreds of, literally people come for an hour or two because I think their expectations of coming, doggy daycare, I don't know, it sounds kind of like fluffy and fun. You're going to go sit on the floor and read books to dogs and play with puppies all day. But the reality of it, in my view, is this is a fast-paced work environment that can be potentially dangerous if you don't follow certain safety protocols. On any given day, we have 80 in our system today. Just today, on any random day, we have about 1,500 dogs nationwide interacting in our play groups. So I don't think it's what people expect it to be. I can just imagine entry-level employees come, and as you know, they come and they go on their coffee break and never come back. So and you know why? Yeah, true story. And I get it. I completely get it. I wish they had the maturity to just say, this isn't working out. But if I was 18, I'd probably do the same thing. I just, it's because it's so much work. Yeah. So talk about that a little. So you come in, you start your job part-time. You want to get a little money for some weed or whatever. But you some beer. Right. Okay. Beer. So you want some beer money. And so what was it like? So you walk in the door.
I walked in the door and the amount of dogs and what we were doing here, I'd never seen anything like that, obviously. And, all I wanted to do was play with the dogs. I quickly learned that is not what we do here. Now that's a statement that I carry with me and probably the first line I say to people when they get hired. But I was always the one to not... learning was very hard for me. I have ADD and things like that. And it's very hard for me to be a very book smart person. So I work better on my feet, hands-on in that type of environment. So this was like the best thing in the world for me. And the job really is only for certain people. You're not going to come here and, you got to get down and dirty and you have to be okay with it. And I love that about the job because I felt like I fit in where I didn't feel like I could do a lot of things. I couldn't count money well. I couldn't, you read a book and, you sit still and things like that. So coming here, I was able to kind of lean into that and feel like myself and really exceed my own expectations within a job.
Right. Well, that's very interesting. In fact, when you talk about that, I do recall, I don't know how many years ago, but you were very hesitant about working up front with the credit card machine and taking money and stuff. But here it is. And this is kind of inspirational. Because when I do my presentations, I always talk about the fact that I'm a high school dropout. I have ADD. Like the only creature on earth that has ADD on more than me is the dogs, right? Dogs are constantly redirected and refocused. So it's very hard for me to focus. I can't read a book. I can't read technical things. Yeah. So this is a surprising opportunity. And it's an example how people listening, and there's nothing more rewarding to me when people, and I can think of your little cohort there, Danielle, who she started out as
my
kind
co-pilot.
You call her co-pilot, I call her co-defendant. But you guys started together, and there's nothing, and you've lasted, you've survived, and there's nothing and that's what we talk about. When we talk about our culture, I don't know what our corporate definition is, but it's based on family values in a small business. So you're all, in my view, kind of my kids.
Absolutely.
And when customers treat my kids inappropriately or whatever, and we've had our ups and downs just like any family, right? So, but honestly, I can't recall too many with you and I. I mean, we haven't had any door slamming, emotional breakdowns. And I have had these things, and it's okay because that's what families do, right? Yeah. We're honest, we're sincere, and we try to protect and respect each other. So now you've gone from ADD coming in, not really wanting to deal with customers. And I'm the same way. Yeah. I don't want, I don't like to do anything. I can't do it. You know very well that I can't check in a dog. I don't know how to work the computer. I don't know anything. So my lane is not, you know that. So frankly, I'm not allowed in the lobby because I just screw things up. And I get that. So they very politely
excuse him from his own building.
Right. Tell me that, get out of the lobby, which they say it very nicely. And I leave because I inevitably screw things up. up. But that's the point, is everyone here, I think, knows their lane, knows where they fit in, what they're supposed to be doing. And for franchisees or any small business owner, I think that's some of the best advice I could give, is let the employees, they know what they're doing. Let them, they might make mistakes. Of course they make mistakes. But if you're dramatic and banging your hands and disrespectful, no good. So where we go, then let's talk a little bit more about your journey from when you first started in 2015.
Yeah, so I started as a kennel attendant, and I remember being like the one in the back that you didn't have to tell me what to do. You know, I pat myself on the back for that. And that's what I look for in kennel attendants now, even when I hire them, is like that initiative, like just taking initiative on your own. And I feel like that's really where it got me to be in a shift leader position, which I was very hesitant on taking, because answering phones and, being just having more responsibility, where I'm just like, well, I'm kind of comfortable here. But you guys are kind of the ones who taught me to get outside my comfort zone. Just try it. If it's not for you, just try it. And that's been my whole life with you guys, offering me opportunities. Does it work? Does not work? Am I comfortable? And being okay with not being comfortable and knowing that that's good for your growth. So when I started shift leading, I was terrified of taking payments. And so it's so funny. I have shift leaders now that are terrified of taking payments. I'm like, you have no idea. I literally would avoid it at all costs, because I just didn't want to mess up. And I don't even know why I felt like that, because you guys never made me feel like if I messed up, I was going to be in trouble. It was always a learning experience. You always say we live in the best, scientific experiments, it's just try it. If it doesn't work, go ahead. And so, I tried it, and I kind of stepped down from it from a little while because I was just so nervous. And then until I just learned to lean in my power and be confident in it, I did really well. And then eventually I moved up to an assistant manager. And then I would start going out when you guys started franchising. I remember one of the very first locations you franchised outside of New York was Bergen. I actually got the opportunity to go out and train them. And then that started my journey of opening and being a trainer for Hounds Town. And then I moved into a manager position. It's...
Well, it is really, to me, when I listen to you, it's really an inspirational story, because I'm the same way. So now I'm thinking your subordinates, your new employees come in, they look at you and they say, wow, she's got all the confidence in the world. How does she do this? How does she answer the phone? How does she take payments? You're dealing with vendors, landscapers, plumbers. You're doing everything to run this business. And if you think of this 7-year journey that you've been here, to me, it's very impressive. But the real nice part, what I like to do, is share my personal story, so people know that, because people look at me and they're like, wow, how does this guy, I'm an introvert, number one, which most people think that that's ridiculous, that I'd be introverted, because my big mouth and talking is to compensate for my shyness and introversion, which is a weird thing. And then when I see you, and then you went out on the road. And what I'd like to say is that now, particularly with our new corporate structure, we allow people to experiment even in other fields beyond get outside your comfort zone, go out. And if it's not something you like, you got a young baby, so you went out starting training, and you were going around, did a tremendous job. And I'm assuming that was, you were more comfortable here at home, with your family, your Hounds Town family, and your biological family, close to home as a young mom, obviously. So we get that. And it was never like, okay, well, if you can't do this, you're done. So we just bring you back into the fold. And again, for franchisees, small business owners, running a small business is challenging. Running a doggy daycare business with 80 to 90 dogs in our building every day, it's a never-ending process. It's not like opening a boutique, however you say that, a boutique. You open it at 9 or 10 in the morning. This is fast-paced. So talk about that a little bit. How are you so comfortable in your skin now? If you went from ADD, which you still have, obviously, we all do, it doesn't go away. You go from there to you walk in the door now, I see you bossing everybody around, and she's like General Patton over here.
I know. I run a tight ship.
She runs a tight ship.
I don't know. I think it's just because my love for the job and my love for Hounds Town and for Ronkonkoma specifically. I truly feel like this is like my store. So I'm just, I care a lot. So I think that's what drives my confidence. And I'm just really comfortable within my role. And just through a lot of exposure and experience with you guys, and even with the going out and training, and of course, having a little bit of time on the corporate team. I think that's what drives my confidence, is just being comfortable within my role. And I think that you guys do a great job of like reassuring me. Without that, I probably wouldn't feel as confident, but I'm able to kind of do what I'm supposed to be doing without like you guys kind of over my back,
Right.
or being too, watching me like a hawk's eye and letting me have that freedom. I work better under freedom and being able to express myself or do things my way and make decisions on my own without going to another boss through 5 other bosses to make a decision. I like to be able to make it and just be like, hey, Mike, I did this. And you're like, okay. Instead of, that. So
and you're speaking my language, because even if you F things up completely, because we all do, none of us are perfect. So we have to make mistakes. We have to, and I don't care what the mistake is. You never, I don't think, scolded, put in timeout, suspended, any of these things. It's as you said, and this is a lesson for franchisees out there. Don't micromanage your staff. They're smarter than you, okay? They're smarter than you. Get them started. They're like birds flying out of a nest. Teach them to fly and then get the hell out and let them fly. Let them develop their own skills, their own style.
Totally.
They can't be you and you can't be them. One of the fine things I find interesting, particularly dealing with franchisees and small business owners, sometimes, not always, but they just naturally have a tendency to think they have to or they do know more than their employees. And that's like a big mistake. Yeah. So here we have 2 people. I've never been to college for business management, franchising. I've never read a book on dog training, none of these things. And here I am in this position. So here you're an operations manager of $1 million store, and you do it and you deal with the ups and downs of it. But you live our culture in the sense that I know this because I get feedback from your employees. You live that in the sense that you treat them like family. Doesn't mean they get away with anything, but they're no way.
No way.
But you know what it was like.
Yes.
And that's what I ask everyone to do always in life. Put yourself in their shoes, walk a mile, which you have. So you know how intimidating it was on day one. So when you have a new employee come in, you're looking for certain qualities, as you said, kind of self-initiated activity, because that's how you were. And then you understand that you're not going to throw them and tell them to answer the telephone when they're like petrified, nervous little thing. So that's part of our culture, is developing, they call it a team, but it is kind of closer to a family than a team. Dysfunctional family, but which most families are anyway, to be honest. And then the other thing is then you do things like just recently you had a party for one of your subordinates here. Yeah. And I was kind of blown away with it. I was kind of touched by that because that's not generally, if you work at Walmart or I don't know, any, to say just to throw a surprise party for, one of your subordinates. And that's part of our culture.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's exactly like you work as a team, but you kind of like love as a family, because at the end of the day, we do, I have to hold them accountable and things like that, but they all kind of know, it's with, I treat them with respect and it's with love. And I do want the best for all of my staff. So if I come down harder on them or if I'm being a little bit strict, it's for them and for the dogs. We have a responsibility with holds that we're, creating a very safe environment for the dogs. So, being, reprimanded for, doing things inappropriately in the rooms or something like that, or whatever it may be, that just, they know that. So it's a fine line that you're walking, but you're never treating them disrespectfully. Right. I may be their boss, but I've still walked in their shoes 100%. So everything I tell them to do or, give them advice on is something that I have lived and done myself. So it's not like somebody from the outside coming in. And I think that's the dynamic that we have here. That's so interesting is they go, okay, well, Sam has done this before. And also no one's afraid to pick up any poop. So they'll see me go back there. I'm cleaning rooms. I'm back there doing the dirty work too. So it's, we're all kind of on the same level. There is a hierarchy, but, we have to work as a team, obviously. Right.
That's so cool. And I'm learning a lot more about you, and the way you're articulating this is very impressive to me. So this isn't a big 100 employee store where you could take an employee and send them to another division or another place. There's 3 or 4 people working every every day.
Right.
So it is a team that has to function like a team. And as you said, you lead from the front, and that's how people should be leading. You don't sit yourself in the office and bark, no pun intended, bark orders at everybody. You've been there, done that, every aspect of it, customer service, you've done it all.
Yeah.
Dog crap is, all the
everything, all the layers.
Yeah, all the layers. That's a great thing. And then you understand that. So if you can do it, they can do it. And you nurture them. Some will rise to the top and go on to do better things and greater things like you have. And others won't. It's not the right fit for other people. But we never admonish people. We don't judge people, right?
No,
we just let them do their
not.
thing.
And I think that also like creating an environment that it's like, there's so many opportunities here, and just making sure that they know that is super important as well.
Right. No, it's good. It's very touching. It's I like the diversity we have, and it's just
Absolutely.
cool. It's a cool place. Danielle was telling me recently, Danielle, your co-defendant, was telling me that there's places in, like, one of the people that left here and tried to get a job at one of our competitors, and they couldn't wear their tattoos. They had to get their tattoos covered. That's such BS. I mean, so I want to get a nose ring. Jackie won't let me. So I'm really pissed off. I want to vote yes. I want a nose ring, and the boss won't let me. That's some type of, I'm going to HR with that complaint. But here's what I want to say. This has been really remarkable, and really we're only scratching the surface. Do you think it's possible we can do another episode and more of the challenges?
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about the good parts on this episode. There are some challenges.
It's not all fluff.
It's not all fluff. And that's important to understand too, because everything mirrors life. You talked about a hierarchy. That's what dogs have. We're a pack of humans, and we're taking care of a pack of dogs. And you described it perfectly well. How you treat your employees is how we treat the dogs.
100%, yeah.
There's a hierarchy. They have responsibilities within our packs, our interactive pack. So that was really cool. So that, I'm happy. I thought this was just going to be a blah, blah, blah. This was a good. I've learned a lot. That's why I like it. So we're gonna end here, and we're gonna do another episode of the Dish on Dogs with Sam Reilly, formerly Valentine, and talk about the other side to the challenges of doggy daycare and running a small business. I'm your host, Mike Gould, Mayor of Hounds Town, USA. Listen to the next informative episode of the Dish on Dogs.
Thanks for watching another exciting episode of the Dish on Dogs podcast. You can also watch us on YouTube on the Dish on Dogs podcast. If you're a listener, you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, and all your other podcast platforms. For more information, click the link in the description. We'll see everybody next time.